everyone, welcome to Bookswagon. Today we have with us Miss Ayesha Chenoy. Ayesha Chenoy is a poet and writer known for emotionally intimate and reflective writing. The Rose Bush explores vulnerability, memory, and inner transformation. Thank you so much for being here, ma'am. Please tell us a little bit about your journey. What exactly inspired you to go down to this path?
So my first book, To the Bravest Person I Know, was written when COVID happened. It was a mental health book. And I think in my heart, I've always thought that children very often suffer because their parents fight or with the smallest conflict. So, and of course, the world increasingly, we fight and then we build walls instead of bridges. So I think the book stemmed from that feeling that while adults are fighting and teachers are fighting very often and parents are fighting, I think children are able to sense that energy and ultimately suffer. And this book was a story that empowers children and even the pets around them.
Okay. And the title is very interesting, The Rose Bush. So, what is the significance of rose bush here?
So I think the rose bush is both a metaphor for peace and a metaphor for life. So when the two families start to argue and fight, the rose bush is what suffers, which is what happens. Love suffers and peace suffers. And as a result of it, it's just that the children, right, they're feeling this sense, even though it's just playing football, they can't do that simple thing anymore because the parents have had a fight. And I think that that's the problem with this world. When we fight, while we tell our children that they must speak and they must make up, we ourselves don't speak and make up. So I think, I was being a bit naughty. I was actually writing the book for the parents. But because it's a children's book, well, maybe when they read the book to the children, they'll actually get the message themselves.
All right. So, ma'am, every writing that a writer writes, it is often a reflection of their personal life. Is there any specific personal incident that actually inspired you to write this book, or any part of your life that is related to this?
So, my father spent a long time in his life trying to make the world a better place. He's an activist, etc. And we used to make fun of him because, we didn't understand why anybody would spend their life helping people like good capitalists. And over time, I realized that it's very easy to post on social media. We have views, we want peace, but I wanted to do something. Maybe make a difference to one family, or maybe a future leader reads this book and understands that we can talk through absolutely any problem instead of just dividing and war and hatred, or even within families, just not talking to a sibling over inheritance. So I think it covers every single conflict, really.
Well, talking about conflict, emotional conflict is a very integral subject, but I think often writing about it, one's mindset has to be very stable. So, how were you emotionally? How did this book, the writing, the research part, how did it affect you emotionally?
So, it was tough because it's a difficult topic. And a lot of parents have asked me, is this complicated for the children? And actually, any child that reads it, they find it very obvious. They're like, excellent, the dog and cat removed the barbed wire. Of course they did. Why can't we ask our parents difficult questions? And so I think that as adults, we become so jaded. So I had to put myself into a child's mind to understand that this division was just of their shared garden. Adults, when they read it, they get a shock because actually it's a story of every family and they think it's very complicated. But for me, I had to literally become young and hopeful again and not think, what, nothing's going to change.
All right. And what kind of impact are you expecting from this book? How do you want the reader to connect with it?
So, you never know. I feel like very often, I've seen all these international authors my whole life, Julia Donaldson, etc. I have not come across many Indian authors, is the truth, who end up writing about difficult topics, but in a
Yeah.
simple, funny way. We very often talk down to children. So, it's a pig or an elephant, and they're still fantastic. But I think that so far, I've had a lot of people tell me that they've been very moved, very moved. A lot of children be mesmerized and read it again and again. So far it's been good, but I think that, with you guys at Volkswagen and everybody else, depending on how much you like the book, I think that, time will tell.
All right. So, is there any message that you would like to give to your readers?
Yes, I think the message is just that while fighting is inevitable because we're human beings, I think talking through it, respect and trust is very important. And for all of us to understand that ultimately we're all just human beings, children, adults, the age doesn't matter.
Beautiful. Thank you so much, ma'am, for giving us your time.
Thank you.
Thank you, everyone.
Hi, this book is now available on Volkswagen, and I'm very excited about this.